Welcome back to It's Healthy Heath. This is week 2 of talking about how to slow down as a modern woman, as a mother, in a world that really prioritizes fast living. I'm a health coach and a mom who helps women take back their health simply without the overwhelm. And if you're joining me today, so excited you're here. We're basically today talking about the root of if I slow down, am I lazy? My fear of being lazy keeps me from slowing down. And I don't know if this is just a millennial problem. Maybe it is. I don't know. But the situation is that we're afraid to slow down, at least I am, because I have this fear of being lazy. And it actually hit me when my counselor said, what would happen if you just stopped and slowed down and did nothing and rested? And she was like, picture yourself in that state. What would happen? And I saw this picture of me sitting on a couch, fat, watching a movie with stuff all around. The house was in chaos. It's giving hoarder vibes. And I don't know why that's the picture that came to my mind when she said, what would happen if you just slowed down? But that's what came to mind. I stop. This is where I will end up, in a hoarder house. When she asked me, that triggered it. And so breaking down, what does it actually look like, and why can't we as women, specifically, especially as moms, can't rest and we can't slow down, and what's the root behind this? You're deep diving into it. It won't be a long video, but I just feel like this is so important to address, even for myself. I'm on this journey figuring this out. And when my counselor asked me that a little over a year ago, I genuinely was like, I can't stop. It's taken me so long to be like, I have to do this. Something's not right. I feel like there's just always this need to always be productive. I can't just sit and play with my child. I can't just enjoy making a meal. What can I do? When you think of open tabs on my computer, that is stressful to people, but that's my whole brain all my time, all my life. Do you see this? That's literally my computer at all times, because I live so many different lives. I feel there's so many compartments of my life that are separate from each other. I have like 7 Google Chrome profiles for different aspects of my life, of like different jobs, different emails, like all these things. Each email represents, but that's in my brain all the time. So it's like, I'm not just cooking dinner. It's like, oh, I'm cooking dinner. My child wants to be held 24/7. Oh wait, I need to do this. Oh, I need to make this next thing. I need to do all these things. Everything all the time is always, oh, I have all these other things to do. And I think it just creates this system in my brain of like, you can't stop or sit down. And sitting and playing with your child is actually not productive. And so why would you do it? And I realized that's such like a horrible thing, because like this season of motherhood, I want to be as present as possible. And I'm realizing this fear of being lazy has kept me from being present in motherhood. And I think it goes back to this root of, guys, this is going to sound so silly. I remember when Tumblr was a thing, I was very into Tumblr. And I remember being so convicted by the Lord that I was wasting my day on Tumblr, which this is 2010 maybe, which is so funny. Social media wasn't even a thing. Tumblr was the thing. This should have been foreshadowing everything else, right? That I was on Tumblr wasting my days away. And the Lord was like, why are you wasting your time? And I was so convicted. I gave it all up and I was like, I can't waste my time. Time wasting is a sin from God, whatever. But I took that internally as meaning if I do anything that's not productive, I have wasted a gift God's given me, which is not, that is not true. That was just going into the mentality I was under at the time. A lot of religion, not a lot of freedom. So when I found my biggest breakthrough in health was when I slowed down my life. The seasons where I kept running, I literally, after an event one time, worked with events, I literally was shaking anytime I moved after an event, because I pushed myself so hard for so long that my body physically couldn't do anything else. And anytime I would move, I would just start shaking. My husband literally was, we need to go to the hospital. It was that bad. And then I tried every single diet out there. We don't even talk about what I did in the past to try to heal, but we did. Anyways, we'll talk about another time. I tried all the different things. They did not do anything for me as much as slowing down my life, eliminating as much stress as possible, which is like, how do you do that? Tough. It's tough. When I started slowing down, that's when all the things I was doing for my health actually worked. Shocker, Heather. Go back to being a normal human and not being on supersonic speed all the time. That was one of my big takeaways, was like, wow, in this season of slowing down is when my health actually got the best it had ever should have been. Heather, keep doing this. But I love to do things. I'm a classic 7. I love doing all the things. So I didn't slow down. I just kept going, and I would try to slow down in certain areas. I would sit and I would breathe really deeply before I ate, and I would cook all my meals at home and things like that. But the internal restlessness has just never gone away fully, of this hunger and need to do all the things and to be all the things for everyone and all of that. And I've gotten better for sure. But anyways, that's why we're doing this challenge of 49 weeks of learning how to live slowly. And it would have been 52, but we moved. It took a lot of time. So we're starting now. It's still January. Of learning how to slow down as a mom. The reason I kept staying in the cycle is productivity and efficiency are so high on my value list that it just kept me in the cycle that I couldn't stop. But why are they so high on our value list? Why do we have to be productive? Why do we have to be efficient in everything we do? And maybe it's like millennial, boomer, I don't know. Maybe Gen Z doesn't feel this way. I don't think they don't show up to work. I don't know. Some do. That's a general statement. That's not to be rude or hating, but for funny things. But millennials are like, let me send this email. I just had surgery. Don't worry. Not healthy. But in this season of motherhood, what is the root of why I can't just enjoy sitting and coloring with my child? What is happening to my parent in a few different ways was that we were raised in this society that being a woman meant you had to be productive, because if you were productive, you were safe. You had worth. You had value in that. And I don't know if it's just me coming from this performance mentality. I think that a lot of women struggle with this, of people pleasing, and that equates to performance. And you are what you can do or what you can produce. We were trained to try to earn rest. And I think we were trained to try to do more and then we could rest. If you got everything accomplished, then you could take a break. If you did all the things, then you could rest. This is a reward, which it is from God. God gives rest to those he loves. That is a reward totally. And it is important to work hard. I am not doing this so we can't work hard, but I think we've equated our value to what we do. And that has created this, we can't rest, because if we rest, then we're nothing. Then we've lost who we are. Exhaustion's kind of a badge of how you're doing. Exhausted, you're totally. It's almost praise. When do you ever meet someone and they're like, wow, I just feel so rested. I'm doing so good. If someone came up and said that to me, I'd be like, tell me your secrets. Tell me, what do you do? Tell me more about your life. Especially as a mom. I get if you're just like, you don't have any kids and you're sleeping 12 hours a night. Sure. Some people aren't even rested when they sleep 12 hours a night. So, but I think burnout is so normalized, or being exhausted so normalized. I started pottery, and every time I see my instructor, he's like, how are you? I was like, tired. He's like, I don't think I've ever seen you and asked how you were that you didn't say tired. He also sees me at Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. So I think that's part of it. But when I heard that, I was like, that's horrible. But also I have a child that doesn't sleep through the night. So by 7:30 on a Friday, I'm tired too. We as women internalize this. If I'm not producing, I'm not able to rest. But that's actually not true. It's not biblical. Just the Lord gives rest to us. We can have rest from the Lord. And he took a Sabbath, a whole day off. And I think when you're a mom, you don't get a whole day off. I remember there's a season in my life where I was so intentional on Sabbaths and I crushed them. Honestly, loved them. And I think being a mom, it's hard to be like, oh, this is restful and rewarding and a break. And that's just a season of life, so that's fine. But I think it equates to this. We always have to be going. We're going to be behind. I didn't do my dishes yesterday because it was a Sunday. But then, a few friends came over and I was like, oh, I have this whole pile of dishes I didn't get to. There's always going to be something. So I think my goal is, how do I learn how to rest in the mess? How do we learn to rest when there's still chaos? Because it's not always going to go away. We won't always have a perfectly clean house. By the time you clean the house, you're so exhausted, you just have to go to bed. How do we rest in the mess still? How do we break off this nervous system that holds on to this when I am loved when I perform and I am loved by what I do? Motherhood actually amplifies that. Modern motherhood is so much more like, you need to perform. Is this just me? You're like, God, you made everything perfect, but this one kind of feels wrong. When you literally have to give birth to a human and then you have to take care of that human while you as a woman are still being recovered. I see in village life that is not true, because you're taking care of this child, but you have a village around you to help you take care of it. It's everyone's child taking care of this baby. So modern motherhood doesn't offer that. Motherhood of the past does, I think. It feels like we have to do everything all the time and you just can't stop. And if you stop, it's game over. It feels like a failure. It feels like if you stop, you're being lazy, which is not true. And it feels like a failure. When the nervous system, another layer, when your nervous system doesn't feel safe, you stay in this cycle of doing more, always on the go. And I think that was a lot of my people pleasing thing of, I just didn't want to stop. Overstimulation creates this hyper productivity. And then our nervous systems are always on this state of high alert. So we're really good at doing more, always doing something, always on the go. Busyness, overfunction. Activity becomes a coping mechanism, and the stillness almost feels unsafe. Going down almost feels like you're losing control. And then, on top of all those things, we have social media that just keeps our mind in this continual state of on. Or you're always like, our attention spans have gone down. When was the last time you sat down and read a book? I joined a book club, and it was the best thing I did because of my, I have to follow the rules in that way. I finish most every single book I read, and I read all the others because you get addicted and you can't stop. Anyways, so I've learned how to read fiction books again. I've sat down and can read for an hour. Before I couldn't. But that's what all of the slow form videos take from you. You see these women who they can do it all. You can't. Are you kidding me? You have help. If you can do it all, you have help. That's all I have to say. So you can't have 5 kids and run a successful business and have a clean house and have all your laundry done and work out all the time without help. You just genuinely, you can't. There's literally not enough hours in the day for that to happen. So you're either just abandoning your children, I don't know, or you have a nanny that comes in, or you have your parents that help, or you have a house cleaner that comes and cleans your house, or someone comes and does all your errands for you. Those are fine things. But we look at these women online and we're like, oh my gosh, if only I could be like her. No, she has help. Don't hate on yourself. She has help. She might not say it, but she does. She might have an assistant that's running her whole life. She has help. Then we start documenting or comparing our lives to these other women who have help. And you're like, why can't I do it all? Why can't I have a home cooked meal every single night and a clean house every single day and 5 kids and a great business that works all the time and a healthy marriage and working out all the time? You have to pick 2 to 3 things and that's your thing. And everything else you either have to hire out or you have to let it go. That's it. That is my stance on this, because it's like, maybe you can have 4 things. I don't know. Depends on what those things are. But it's like, and you can't do it all the time. And I think in different seasons, things take different priority. Now we're comparing ourselves to these people who are doing it all, thinking, well, if they have this, I could do that too. And I wake up before my children. These are all the things I get done. I don't. I cannot. My child does not sleep through the night, and I need a lot of sleep. And my child, she doesn't. So that makes life tough. I am not waking up before her. I've tried. She wakes up, doesn't work. It's all of these layers, but to us, we're like, oh, if I rest, I'm lazy. That word I feel like is not very popular anymore. I don't think people talk about being lazy because I just don't think it's this generation's worry. But as a millennial mother, it's my worry. And I don't want to be lazy, and I don't want to be unproductive, and I don't want to be inefficient. So that has kept me from resting in motherhood. It's kept me resisting. The problem isn't that we are lazy or that we are going to be lazy, because I just don't think there's a season in my life where I could actually be lazy. There just genuinely isn't, because of who I am. But I do think I've been living in survival mode for so long. In my nervous system, in my physical body has felt this survival mode, that when I stop, it doesn't know what to do with it. We've been taught this rest has to be earned. Slowing down means you're failing or you're behind. Your to-do list isn't getting accomplished. The system doesn't feel safe. It does one or 2 things. You either slow down, shut down, or you go in overdrive and you just keep pushing harder. And so those are the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum that I have done both. I have been in full shutdown mode because I overdid it, and I've been full overdoing it all the time. So I think trying to find the balance of that in the middle of those 2 is the goal of all of this, and for all of us. And this is a journey. I've been on this journey for a bit now, and I think now being a mom adds another layer to it. That's why we're doing this and figuring out solutions corporately together. I'm no expert on living slow. This is just what we're figuring. We have to accept that we can't do it all. And that's really hard for me. I realize an external motivator for me is to be perfect. Sometimes our bodies are actually just asking us to slow down, and we were made to work really hard. But as a millennial mom, I don't need to be told to do more. I actually need to be told to do less. And I need to say, it's okay for you not to do something right now, because in my heart of hearts, I just want to do it all. And I think I can do it all. And every job sounds exciting because it creates these new versions of yourself. And you're like, I could be that, I could do that. That also is a little bit of the ADHD that I've been working on in my brain and heart. That new lives come through new jobs, and that feels exciting, or a new hobby. We have to listen to our bodies and be like, enough is enough. I see enough babies not sleeping, which is that a reflection of their mother? Probably. And I'm working on that as well, because Debbie doesn't sleep. And then a reflection of, did Jesus run anywhere? No, he did not. He walked. Walking takes a long time. Walking is inefficient. That was his life. And he stopped for the one. So slowing down, walking in motherhood, slowing the pace internal. I can physically be slow, but it's my internal state of rest that we're working on. Do things that I am doing that I think are helpful to slow down is doing things that are inefficient. Going slow on the highway. Tough. Literally intentionally going slow. Reading books that do nothing for me other than a good story. Fiction books have actually helped my brain so much to slow down. I wish I had had this sooner in my journey of motherhood. I wish I had started listening to Audible sooner. I was always trying to read books that were efficient and books that added value to my life, like a self-help book kind of thing. So I stopped reading because I was like, I don't have the brain capacity for this. And then when I joined book club, brought back my love for reading and my love for reading fiction. That it's just like, I'm reading this for a good story. It's so inefficient. It's great doing things off your phone. Your phone just keeps your brain running a million miles an hour, and it makes you feel more productive than you are. I'm on my phone. I'm working my banking, and I'm editing this video, and I've ordered these things because Debbie needs them, and I've already restocked the fridge, and I ordered our groceries. That's exhausting. That's a lot. Being off her phone less. Bringing a physical book with you. I've been Sudokuing. Debbie's playing, she doesn't need me, but do I want to sit on my phone? No. And am I just gonna sit and stare in space? No, but Sudokus are lit. We need to go back to them. Using our brain more. Practically eating breakfast within 60 minutes of waking up. That's a big one. I do that because I literally have to have breakfast when I wake up, but a lot of women don't. Not drinking your coffee on an empty stomach. I don't drink coffee, doesn't matter, but this is a helpful thing for people. Just being intentional with, if your child's eating breakfast, you can sit and read your Bible or journal or whatever, put worship, things that just intentionally slow you down to make you stop running, and literally just sitting down to eat and actually eating meals. I found myself, I was so good at eating before I wasn't. I got better, realized it's so good for your metabolism and all your things. Started eating more, it was amazing. Then I had a baby and I was eating enough because I was breastfeeding. But then now it's, so Debbie's hungry, I need to work on her thing and I forget my food. So I think all this to say is resting's not lazy. Resting is not slowing down is not being lazy. It's actually productive in the long run, and creating this peace inside of you. It does only come from the Lord, but I think our society, we've been kept in this overrun space, and so we don't know how to rest and slow down. So the encouragement is, it's good to slow down. It's good to start living slow. You are not unproductive for resting and living slow. And it's actually going to be better for your life, your marriage, your motherhood, and your physical health. Your nervous system is actually going to do better, heal, because you're slowing down. So we're all in this together. Come back for next week, for week 3. We're figuring this out together.